What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're getting into my Week 10 NFL Power Rankings video. Not the most movement this week, but we still have some teams moving around, so let's get into this here. Starting out with number 32, we have the Arizona Cardinals, staying at 32, trading away Josh Dobbs. Clayton Tune's not the answer. We'll see how they look with Kyler Murray returning. But yeah, this team is still the worst in football, in my opinion, even with Kyler Murray coming back. They've just degressed, I think, this season. The talent is just not there for this team to compete. So the Cardinals at 32. Again, though, Kyler Murray could make things interesting for Arizona because he is a good quarterback. He is a special player, so we'll see how that happens. But for now, I'm going to keep him at 32. It's justified at this point. 31, though, we have the Carolina Panthers at 1-7, staying at 31 here. This week against the Colts, gets back down to the mean, was not the team. They were not the better team on offense and on defense. Bryce Young struggled in that game, and the Panthers dropped one. 30, we have the New York Giants at 2-7, staying at 30. New York, a game that they needed to win against the Raiders, a game that I thought that they would win against the Raiders with the firing of Josh McDaniels, but it didn't come to fruition. The Giants lost this one, and they fell to 2-7. The Giants are just not a great football team right now, and that's why they come in at 30. 29, we have the Chicago Bears right there. The Bears 2-7 on the season. The Bears this week lose to the Saints. They competed. They showed that they can be a decent team. You look at those three teams below them. Those teams could even be in a tier of their own. I think the Bears are a little bit of a step ahead of these teams. They have talent on the defense. They have some good offensive weapons to help them out, but they're still not a good football team by any stretch of the imagination. So the Bears coming at 29. 28, we have the New England Patriots, 2-7, the Pats. This team just couldn't get it done against the Commanders. I thought that they played like the better team at home, a game that they should have won, didn't get it done. Bill Belichick's squad, not too much different there. Tough loss for the Patriots in that one. And then 27, we have the Los Angeles Rams dropping down 4 spots this week. I know Matthew Stafford is injured for the Rams team, but that just shows how big of a player Stafford is to the Los Angeles Rams. And losing to the Packers is just, you can't do that right now in this league. Packers have been a very bad team this season. Like I said earlier on in the year, the reason why I had the Rams so low in my power rankings, like at the beginning of the season, is because I don't know how this team is going to be once they get banged up in this midway point of the season. They don't have much depth. They really struggle at that side. They might be the worst in the league at that. So the Rams at 27, you see that kind of come these past couple weeks, and they're 3-6 right now. Playoff hopes, I think, are down the drain. I know it's a bad NFC, but still, I don't expect the Rams to be in the playoffs at this point. It was a rebuild year always for Los Angeles. So, Matthew Stafford really carried this team. They're struggling right now without him, though. Then 26, we have the Green Bay Packers jumping up a spot, beating the Rams. They deserve it. They dominated them. Jordan Love got some things going this week. The offense finally played a lot better. Joe Barry's defense still a little bit not good. It was against the Rams, so they don't deserve to come up really that much from a win like that. They just deserve to come ahead of the Rams, I think, for beating them in this tier. So that's where they're going to come. And then the final team in the bad tier, we have the Washington Commanders. Look how many NFC teams that is. That is 7 NFC teams in one bad tier. That's just going to show you there's going to be a lot of AFC teams in the next year. But, the Commanders this week, staying at 25, getting the job done against the Patriots. Good win, but it's not enough for me to move them up into the decent tier. So that's what I have on the Commanders. So I kind of zoomed through that bad tier. Let's go on to the decent tier. Starting out with number 24, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. They're going to come out of the bad tier here. They've been fluctuating like all season in the bad, in the decent, very similar to Washington. But they're going to be jumping up 2 spots. At 4-5 at this point, you look at the Raiders as a team, getting the job done this week against the Giants. A new coach coming in, kind of getting this team hyped up. The defense played phenomenal against a bad Giants offense. And then the offense, we know they have pieces with Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams, even with Aiden O'Connell back there who, did his best in this game. The Raiders were able to get a win. So good win for the Raiders. I think they're a decent team at this point from that defensive talent that they have and on the offense. But again, it's been fluctuating. They're just kind of a weird team to rank right now when it comes to the tiers. So the Raiders coming at 24. And then 23, we have the Indianapolis Colts at 4-5, getting the win this week against Carolina. They're just going to be jumping up a spot for that. Obviously it's the Panthers. They should have won that game, and they did. Dominated that game on the offense and on the defense. Really not much else you could say. Good win for the Colts. They needed a bounce-back game, and they got it done. Let's see how they could do moving forward against some better opponents. 22, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers dropping down 3 spots and into the decent tier. I think at this point it's time to move down the Buccaneers. On a 4-game losing skid, it's time to move this team into the decent tier. I mean, they're just offensively, aside from this last game against the Texans, they've been bad. Baker Mayfield played a lot better this week. I'll give him that. But still not able to win the game. The defense really struggled against Mayfield. I think that they're not well coached at this point on in the season. At this point, it's time for the Buccaneers to fall to the decent tier. Do I see them winning out in the wild card round, making it over teams like the Vikings, the Falcons? We'll get to them later. Probably not. Do I see them winning the division over the Saints, the Falcons? Probably not. So the Buccaneers come into the decent tier right there. And then 21, we have the Tennessee Titans staying at the same spot. An unfortunate loss against the Steelers. They were the better team for most of that game. Will Levis played a really good game against a really good Steelers defense. So that's what you really like to see for the Titans. Very impressed by that performance. And they're going to be staying put at 21. And moving on to number 20, jumping up 2 spots, we have the Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud, dominant win against the Buccaneers. What a performance from Stroud. That's what you love to see for this Texans young unit. They're getting things going. This defense really has been off and on, but it's a very young unit. DeMeco Ryans coaching up this unit. I expect them to be very good in the years to come. And this offense, man, C.J. Stroud is really making work of Tank Dell, other players. The run game's been non-existent, which is kind of a drawback for the Texans, but still, C.J. Stroud, it's the C.J. Stroud show right now. He is playing really, really good football. I don't think it's enough to win, to make it into the in the hunt tier, though, with a lot of good teams in that tier. But yeah, the Texans come in at 20. Very solid team so far. And then 19, we have the Denver Broncos jumping up a spot on the bye week. So really just moving up, I think, from the Buccaneers loss. And then 18, we have the New York Jets dropping down 2 spots here. Jets, another weird team to rank. I mean, I'm putting them in the decent tier. They were in the hunt tier earlier, but I don't see them doing that right now. You look at the Jets, this team is off and on each week. Defensively, phenomenal unit, but Zach Wilson just can't get it done against a bad Chargers defense, an undisciplined Chargers defense. That's just concerning if you're a Jets fan. He was looking pretty darn good against the Chiefs. Got to find a way to play like that. The season's not over yet. It's not the end of the world. But at this point, the offense is just abysmal. So the Jets deserve to come down to 18. They're still 4-4 though, so they can for sure turn things around. Okay, that'll round out the decent tier as you see there. Um, you know, 6 AFC teams, 1 NFC team there. Let's get into this in the hunt here now then. Starting out with number 17, we have the Atlanta Falcons jumping up a spot. Getting the loss this week. They're only jumping up, I think, from the Buccaneers loss. Or wait, the Jets. The Jets dropping down, yeah. So the Falcons, you got to get the win this week. It's a very unfortunate loss. Taylor Heineke did his best. The defense just couldn't stop a good Vikings offense. So I understand that from the Falcons. You needed to get a win, and Josh Dobbs coming in, you lose to a quarterback that just got there is very unfortunate. But I still think this Falcons team has the talent, has the pieces to still win the division over a team like the Saints. The wild card may be out of the stretch of the imagination after the Vikings just won, but we'll see what happens there. So the Falcons, number 17, jumping up a spot. And then 16, we have the Minnesota Vikings jumping up at 5-4 at this point. Sorry. The Vikings, Joshua Dobbs, another really good week of football this week. That's what you love to see. If you are a Vikings fan, Josh Dobbs coming in, just not even knowing the players' names, and he comes out and puts out a showing, beats a good Falcons team in general. That's what you like to see if you're a Vikings team or fan. The Kirk Cousins injury is unfortunate, but this team still has the talent, especially in this NFC right now. They are in this playoffs tier to make a run, and I think they're going to. So Justin Jefferson might be back this week. I'm not entirely sure on that. So that obviously raises the ceiling of this team as well. But the Vikings come in at 16. And then number 15, we have the New Orleans Saints staying at the same spot. Saints offense just continues to show improvement the past couple of weeks. That's what you love to see. I know it's against the Bears defense and whoever they played. I forgot the previous week, but against the Jaguars they did decent. But anyway, the Saints, that's what you love to see. Derek Carr playing better football lately, and the Saints need that for sure in their building. And then the defense doing their job, finishing out this game. But nothing too much to say. They're not going to come up from a win against the Bears. Just a good, solid game that they should have won. So good win from the Saints. Then number 14, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers staying at 14. Getting the job done against the Titans. That was a good win for Pittsburgh. Coming back in that game, Kenny Pickett looked pretty solid against a decent Titans defense. And then the Steelers defense is obviously the story of this team. That's why they're at 14 at this point. They're a very solid defense for Pittsburgh. And very well coached on that side of the ball with Mike Tomlin. So Pittsburgh looking to get another winning season under Mike Tomlin, maybe even slide into the playoffs. Right now, I don't think they're up there with these playoffs teams in the AFC, but we'll see if they can. Number 13, we have the Los Angeles Chargers staying at the same spot. They've been staying at 13. Kind of been, I believe that their range of rankings have been like 12 to like 14 this season. So they've really stayed at the same spot. They're really what I thought they were, just kind of an not a great, well-coached team here. They're on defense, especially Justin Herbert, though, raises the ceiling of this team. He comes out, plays a really good game against the Jets defense, but and the defense played well against the Jets offense. So that's what you like to see if you're a Chargers fan. But can they do that against the top teams? I'm not so sure. You're going to have to beat a good team to make the playoffs in the AFC. We'll see if they can do it. Not saying the Jets aren't a good team. They're a decent football team, but like one of the top playoffs team contenders in the league. So we'll see if the Chargers can take that step this year. Okay, number 12, we have the Buffalo Bills staying at 12. They are what I thought they were. They don't deserve to come down for losing to the Bengals, but they're not a contender at this point on in the season. Losing to the Bengals, just were outmatched in that game against the Bengals, and that warrants them staying at 12, I think. So, tough loss. They need to bounce back from that, but it was on the road too, But this team's going to be a playoff team, I think. They might not even make the playoffs at this point with the AFC. You look at a team like Chargers and Steelers are right there, but I still think the Bills, Josh Allen, he could be explosive in the playoffs, but right now I just can't see this team going on a run to win the Super Bowl with how inconsistent they have been this season. Okay, number 11, we have the Cleveland Browns staying at 11 again, 5-3. Just dominating the Cardinals. That's not going to warrant them going into the contenders tier this week, but a good win from the Browns. The defense continues to show out. Deshaun Watson plays a good game against the Cardinals. Bad defense, but it's against the Cardinals defense. Come on now. We got to see it against someone really solid. So the Browns coming at 11. All right. So that, you look at two little tiers there, the playoffs and the in the hunt tier. Now let's get to the contenders tier. A lot of movement in this tier here. But starting out with number 10, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, a very vast tier too. I have not seen a contenders tier this big in a while. It's just how it works out this season. But the Jaguars on bye, they're going to be dropping down a spot. Not to the Jaguars. Just a team comes ahead of them that I think deserve to come ahead of them. So the Jaguars come in at number 10. Number 9, the 49ers drop it down a spot. Again, on bye. A team deserves to come ahead of them. So that's where they come in. Number 8, we have the Detroit Lions. Also on bye, dropping down a spot. And again, a team coming ahead of them. Nothing they did this week. And then number 7, we have the Seattle Seahawks dropping down 2 spots. It was a rough performance from Seattle this week against the Baltimore Ravens. That's a game that Geno very much struggled in. The defense got ran all over. As a Seahawks fan, that was embarrassing, especially after a great win against the Browns the previous week. So the offense really needs to figure things out right now. They were beat up. They were the worst team this week against the Ravens, but Seattle has shown this season that they're a very solid team. I still think they are a contender at this point. As a Seahawks fan, I know the potential of this team. They got a lot of talent. Can they put it together, though? I think they can. They got a game against the Washington Commanders next week that I'll be at. We're going to get that win, I think. And then you got a game against the Rams, who are a team that's struggling, but the Rams always play us close, so you never know. But, the Seahawks at number 7. 2 big bounce-back games for them, and I think they'll respond. But one loss there, I think, might move them down to the contenders here. These 4 teams, besides the Jaguars, the Jaguars are an interesting case because I don't think they've played a full game of football right now on the offensive side. Kind of some doubts there with that team. I know a lot of people are very high on them right now, but anyway, the Seahawks come in at 7. Number 6, the Cowboys staying at 6. Believe it or not, the Cowboys have stayed at 6 for the past 5 weeks or something. At 5-3 at this point. The Dallas Cowboys showing that they're they can compete with the best of the best on the road against Philadelphia. It's a game that Cowboys fans, I know they really wanted to win, but I really just wanted to see them, have a chance in the end to win it, and they did. They had a chance to go down the field and win multiple opportunities, just couldn't quite get it done. Dak Prescott played a very solid game. The defense played very good as well. So the Cowboys deserve to stay here at 6. It's an unfortunate loss for them. But still, the same Cowboys, I think they are a very good defense and a team that on the offense side of the ball is very good as well. So Dallas staying there at 6. Number 5, we have the Cincinnati Bengals jumping up 5 spots at 5-3. Cincinnati this week, really, really good win against the Bills. They're going to be the most movement team of this rankings. You had the Rams dropping down 4 spots, Bengals jumping up 5 spots. So huge win against the Bills. This Bengals team is back. Their offense is looking dominant again. The defense is looking dominant as well right now. It's been a very good performance the past few weeks for the Bengals. That's what you love to see if you're a Cincinnati fan. So congratulations to you guys. You guys are back. So let's see if you can hold on to it. Right now, I feel like this is just the trend of the Bengals where they kind of start out the season slow, but are back and rolling later on in the year. So that's really what the Bengals have been doing. So they come in at number 5. Number 4, dropping down 2 spots, we have the Miami Dolphins, 6-3 on the season. I was debating moving the Dolphins below the Bengals. It's an interesting case there. I still really like this Dolphins team. I know a lot of people are counting them out at this point on in the season. But I still think this Dolphins team is a contender. They still have to show that they can beat a top team in the league. We'll see if they can. But Tyreek Hill, Tua, kind of had an unfortunate game against the Steelers, the Chiefs. Had a chance to go down the field, tie the game, just couldn't get it done. It's a good Chiefs team as well, so you gotta put that into consideration right now. But still, the Dolphins right now, at number 4. Again, you got to prove you can beat a top team. We'll see if they can, but I still think this offense is one of the best, if not the best, in the league when they're on. And this defense. Still really solid. Jalen Ramsey coming back. They played a good game against the Chiefs. Allowing 0 points in the second half against Kansas City is a good deal. So, Dolphins dropped it down 2 spots from that one. Unfortunate loss. But number 3, we have the Baltimore Ravens jumping up a spot. The Ravens this week, goes out there, gets a dominant win against my Seahawks. Lamar Jackson played phenomenal in this game. But really, I think the storyline for this game was the defense. They made it impossible for Seattle to do anything on offense. The pass rush was all over them, batting down footballs at the line. It was just a dominant performance here for the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens, Lamar, and the run game as well. They really made a Seattle run defense, who's been looking like is one of the better ones in the league this season, look very bad this week, looking like this run defense for the Seahawks last season. So, huge win for the Baltimore Ravens. Huge dominant win. Now the past 3 weeks, they've shown that they can beat Seattle and Detroit in both dominant ways, which is a huge case for the Ravens. So I love to see that for Baltimore, and they're going to come into 3. Number 2, we do have the Chiefs. Getting those job done in Germany against the Dolphins. Patrick Mahomes played a good game. The defense for the Chiefs really dominant in that first half. They really schemed up very nicely to stop Tyreek Hill in this game, and that's what you love to see if you are a Chiefs fan. There's still some things to be worked out there for Kansas City on offense. Not scoring any points in the second half is a little bit rough, but they're still one of the best teams in the league. And then number 1, we have the Philadelphia Eagles staying at the same spot. Eagles at 7-1. They deserve to be at number 1 at this point. 7-1, getting the win against the Cowboys. That game could have gone the Cowboys' way. Unfortunately, it did not for the Eagles. Or fortunately, it did not for the Eagles. 7-1 at this point on the season. They're continuing to beat really good football teams. Their schedule last season, you saw it last year, their schedule is a bit easier. This year, it's a little bit harder, I think, for the Philadelphia Eagles. So they're doing a good job at it, though, at 7-1. All right, anyway, guys, thank you all for watching this video today. Very, very big contenders here, as you see there. But I truly believe at this point on in the season, those 10 teams can for sure go on a Super Bowl run if they get things together. They're consistent, good football teams. So anyway, guys, thank you all for watching this video today. Hopefully you all enjoyed the content. Comment down below your power rankings. Anyway, guys, peace out.